What's going on, everybody? It's great to have you with me. The Minnesota Vikings are now 3-0. Even the homers, the most hardcore homers, didn't see this. Sure, they might have picked the Vikings to go 3-0 to maybe squeak out a couple of victories against San Francisco and Houston, but I don't think anybody thought that they would be 3-0 right now and have absolutely dominated two of the top 8 teams by most measures going into the season. The San Francisco 49ers were the NFC champs, been to the NFC Championship game or Super Bowl for the last 5 years. Beat them pretty handily. Everybody thought CJ Stroud, we got added Stephon Diggs to the team, second year, going to progress. And they're still most likely going to win their division because the rest of the AFC South is rather mediocre at best. But they made CJ Stroud look like a rookie. He was uncomfortable from the get-go. It was funny. At the sports bar that I was at this weekend, they put up the graphic. We all saw it. Almost a calendar year since last November, since C.J. Stroud had thrown an interception. And it reminded us of the graphic they put up in week 1 where Sam Darnold hit his first 12 passes. And right after they put up the graphic, very next pass, incomplete. I was there with the gal and one of her sons, and he's like, I bet you he throws an interception first play of the game. I said, I think they're going to get one, but I don't know about the first play. First play goes by, called back by penalty. So we got to redo. Tip ball by Harrison Phillips, an interception. And I said right then and there in my mind, okay, we got this game. Now, all I was saying to myself was make sure we score a touchdown this time, getting the ball off a turnover in the red zone and stomp them right out the gate. Get that boot ready to stomp on their throats. And they did. Nice little nifty scramble by Sam Darnold. Not the most limber guy, but has some mobility. Can actually sense pocket presence. Can roll out. Got some good news today from Kevin O'Connell saying that there was no structural damage to the knee that got hit by Danielle Hunter. And let me be clear about this right out the gate. That was not a dirty play by Danielle Hunter. He was half being blocked into by the guy. Danielle Hunter is the most gentle giant that there is. He had absolutely no ill intent. And even Brian O'Neill was just like, yeah, he felt really bad. That wasn't a dirty hit. Anybody who wants to say that that was dirty or because he was trying to take out the Vikings quarterback because the Vikings never offered him a real extension. No, I don't buy that. I do not buy that at all. But that's just me. With all that being said, we're going to have some fun tonight. If you don't already, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you don't already subscribe to Vikings vs. SKOL on your favorite podcast aggregator, please do that as well and hit me up there. The Vikings are 3-0. And oh, by the way, might have buried the lead. It's Packers week. One of my friends at work was trying to talk some smack. Who's a Packers fan. After we did some consoling of the 49ers fan in the house. Oh, how did they blow that game, by the way? But he put me onto the ESPN Wisconsin postgame show where Mark Tauscher, former Packers offensive lineman, and, you know, he belongs in the Packers Ring of Honor. Okay, that's all well and good. He said, I'm only in for 5 minutes today, but let me just say this. We dominated today. The Vikings are overrated, and we're going to stomp them next week. I said, whoa, overrated? One of the best defenses in the league, leads the league in sacks. Top 5 in scoring points against. Overrated. Okay. I'll have a few words to say about that as well here, but let me get some shouts to the people that are in the house here. We got I Want to Mock Bob in the building. What is going on, Bob? It's still 17-0 season. You are correct. We still got it. We got my guy Rap from Vocal Vike. What's going on? I'm with Bob, 17-0. We got my guys GG in the house, called 17-0 a while ago. Okay. What's going on, Skull for Life Barber? Good to see you. Good to see you. We got a new one in the house. Daniel Berry Sports Highlight. Thanks for joining. Very much appreciate it. Thank you so very, very much. Crazy. Next year, I'm going to be Justice House carrying him. So, yeah, there is that. We'll see. We'll see. Everybody give a shout out. You know what we do for first timers, regardless of their fan affiliations. Your emoji's a little small, so I can't quite tell on that. Who's the champions and what year you got there going on, Daniel Berry? But everybody give a shout out, Daniel Berry. First timer, everybody light him up. Say hello. Or her. I shouldn't say him or her. So there you go. A lot of hellos and what's going on and all that good stuff. So, okay, perfect. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining. Hit the share button as well. Put it on your favorite aggregator. And let's get this going here tonight. We're going to have some really good coverage tonight here, as well as over on Vikings First and SKOL. I cannot wait for the Real Forno show at 6:05. Their headline, are the Vikings the best team in the NFL right now? That's a talker. That's definitely a talker. But let's get started with yesterday's game. I'm going to start with the defense. Why? Because this team is built and revolves around its defense. I know we have Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the game. And for years, we've been talking about what are we going to do at quarterback, and can we get a guy who's not taking so much salary cap and has a glass ceiling of the divisional round of the playoffs. I'm going to start with the defense. I'm running out of good things to say. It's the same thing over and over again. They are absolutely a top 5 defense. I've been hovering around calling them top 5. I said top 10 would be a lofty goal, but top 5 would be an extreme stretch goal. I'm done with saying it's an extreme stretch goal at this point. The Minnesota Vikings are absolutely a top 5 defense. Brian Flores has absolutely got it going on. Last year, Brian Flores did what he needed to survive, and now he's doing what he needs to dominate. And once again, the Vikings defense was absolutely dominant yesterday. CJ Stroud hadn't had an interception in almost a year, like we said in the opening salvo, had 2 interceptions, including the first one of the game, 25.1 QBR, 68.6 passer rating, 215 yards. And most of that was in garbage time. They benched him and said, Davis Mills, you go ahead and run the last couple of series. We're not going to get our guy hurt anymore. He can't do anything today. Stephon Diggs, welcome home. I know a few people booed you. I wouldn't have booed you if I was there. You gave us one of the greatest memories of all time. But, yeah, he got his 10 catches for 94 yards, and best believe he was trying like heck to get in the end zone on that last play to maybe get himself over 100 yards or at least get a touch. But Nico Collins, 4 catches, 86 yards. Tank Dell. I don't remember but one pass going to Tank Dell. He caught 5 for 62. But by and large, the Texans offense really didn't do anything. Yeah, Cam Akers. 9 carries, 21 yards. Last week, I said it's okay that the Vikings gave up 400 yards because they only gave up 17 points, and I'm not interested in how many yards you give up. I'm interested in how many points you give up. Well, this week, they didn't give up points, and they didn't give up yards either. It's the same names. But what's beautiful about this Vikings team defensively right now is that they run 18 deep. You didn't have Ivan Pace. You didn't have Dallas Turner, and it didn't matter. It absolutely did not matter. Andrew Van Ginkel, again, another sack, led the team, tied for the team leading tackles with Harrison Smith and Cam Bynum. Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith, Cam Bynum, those 3 safeties. Name me a better safety trio in the NFL right now, and I'll say you're out of your mind because there isn't one. There absolutely isn't one. Last but not least for right now anyway, Jonathan Grenard said, oh, you guys didn't want me back, huh? Okay. Now what do you think? How you like me now? First sack, he absolutely bull rushed and bulldozed that tight end and sacked CJ Stroud. What kind of disrespect do you have for somebody who you decided not to resign, decided to go in a different direction? Okay, that's fine. But you're going to put a tight end on that guy? He's not that good. We didn't want him back. We can block him with a tight end. No, you can't. So it wasn't just a cursory, they made a mistake and then made some adjustments after the fact. No, you still got 2 more sacks after that. But every week is a different name, whether it's Andrew Van Ginkel, whether it's Jonathan Grenard or Cam Bynum, Harrison Smith, all of these guys. This isn't a 1 or 2 man wrecking crew defensively. This defense has names everywhere. And coming into the season, they were a bunch of no names, a lot of cast-offs, a lot of signings that we did this year. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah again, as we said last week. Once again, he put this team together. Now, was he advised by Brian Flores? Hey, let me get this guy. Probably. And that happens all the time, but probably to a greater extent this season with Brian Flores. But he's put together a defense. And I'm not saying it's without weaknesses. We could still use an incredible defensive tackle that could pass rush like a Dexter Lawrence. Well, very few teams couldn't use a Dexter Lawrence, but you get my point. It's not that they are void of weaknesses. They still have some. You can still run the ball against them a little bit. And yes, I know the Texan fans who say, well, we didn't have Joe Mixon. Okay, we didn't have Jordan Addison. We didn't have our number 1 overall draft pick in Dallas Turner, and we didn't have one of our star linebackers in Ivan Pace. So I don't want to hear about who you guys did or didn't have. But did this defense drop an inch yesterday after not having Dallas Turner and Ivan Pace? The answer is no. So when I say they run 18 deep, they're rotating guys in and out of there. Last week, Patrick Jones. This week, what did Patrick Jones do? A couple tackles. That was it. but Houston never really got anything going. They had a little bit in the first quarter, and then their kicker, who hadn't missed a long field goal all year, actually missed one against the Vikings. When's the last time an opposing team's kicker missed one against us when they're the one that don't miss? Usually it's the other way around. Side note, was extremely happy. The Vikings were up 7-0 at that point. And yesterday at the sports bar, I played first quarter numbers and I had 4. So when he missed that field goal, I'm like, okay, Vikings just need to score a touchdown at the end of this quarter, not let Houston score. I was sweating out that first drive. So yes, got a little pay. Oh, good for you. I know. I was second part of that is at the end of the game, I had the 9. And so I wouldn't have been disappointed to have the Vikings defense got scored upon and maybe Texans get that 2-point conversion. But, all's well as it ends well. The Vikings are 3-0. They have a top 5 defense. I don't want to call them the best defense yet, because the second I start having expectations and start accepting that they can be great is the second they let us down. So we're going to temper our enthusiasm, but only by a little bit. I'm done tempering my enthusiasm, particularly about this defense. We'll talk a little bit more about the offense and how far Sam Darnold can take this. And as we said earlier, luckily no major damage done to the knee yesterday. But as far as the defense goes, I'm almost at a loss for words. They're going to have a big test next week, though, coming up against the Green Bay Packers, regardless of who their starter is, whether it's Jordan Love coming back off of his injury or whether it's Malik Willis. And we'll talk a little bit more about the Packers during the NFC North roundup, as well as a little bit of the preview. But this will be the first real, I'm not going to say the first real test, but a test from a quarterback that has both run pass options. And credit to, as much as I hate to say it, credit to Matt LaFleur for getting Malik Willis up to speed, who did absolutely nothing when he was with the Titans. And, when Jordan Love went down, it was, looked at as 4 to 6 weeks. And can the Packers survive? Well, they did what they're supposed to do. But for right now, I'm really looking forward to going into Lambeau Field with a defense and an offense that does just enough, and an offense that still has room to grow. This offense put up 34 points yesterday. We didn't get a pick 6 in this game. Yeah, got a turnover, got to set up. We got 34 points offensively. And we still don't have Jordan Addison. We still don't have TJ Hawkinson. So this offense still has room to grow. Offensive line, we'll talk about them in a little bit too. Have some ups and downs on them. But to wrap up on the defense, I'm not ready to say that some have already said they're better than the Purple People Eaters. Let's slow our roll down here on that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, maybe you never saw I never saw them play, but I know enough about Vikings history and I know enough about to be able to, look at old highlights. This defense is not where the Purple People Eaters were as of yet. Could they be? Maybe. I'm not going to put it past them. I'm not going to say, oh, no way. Are they definitely better than the 98 Vikings defense? Yes, absolutely. The 98 Vikings defense was a solid defense, one that gambled to try to get takeaways, a bend but don't break. Are they better than the 98 defense? Yes. Are they better than the 2009 defense? I'm going to say they're even right now. They might be better because you had some real superstars. We talk about Jared Allen, Kevin and Pat Williams, Antoine Winfield, Chad Greenway, to a certain extent, Ben Lieber as well. I'm going to say they're definitely on par with 09. As far as 2017, though, that's the real question. And maybe I don't want to answer it right now because in my heart, I want to say yes, they are, because of the whole Zimmer situation that's recently come about how nothing was ever his fault and it was always everybody but him. That defense got smoked in the NFC Championship game. And I'll say this. I'm not saying that the Vikings can't be had defensively, but I don't see a Brian Flores-led defense completely folding up like a cheap suit the way we did in the 2017 championship game against the Eagles. So for right now, let's just enjoy the ride. Let's just enjoy the fact that we don't need to, after 3 weeks, make declarative statements about where does this defense rank in the Vikings lore. Yeah, it's not Purple People Eaters. It's better than 98, so it's somewhere in between that. But Ziggy Wilf, Mark Wilf, I know you said you don't want to give contract extensions during the season to the head coach and the general manager. Lock up your defensive coordinator right now, please. Give him whatever he wants. Give him whatever you're about to give Kevin O'Connell, give him 1 penny less. Because frankly, we have 2 head coaches on our football team, one running the offense and one running the defense. And there is something to be said that some offensive and defensive coordinators are just better fits in that role than they are as head coaches. And maybe Brian Flores is one of them. Maybe he can be our Dick LeBeau, who is just our defensive coordinator for decades. at the end of it, for me, my oh my, this defense just it's just name after name after name. I don't even remember the guy who came up with the interception on the first play of the game, Greer Hill. I didn't even know who that guy was. I like to pride myself in thinking I pretty much know all of the players, sans one or two. I didn't even know who that guy was. I almost called him Jasper Brinkley just to be funny about it, but guys are coming out of everywhere and they're all fitting into the scheme. As much as we talked about what would it be like to lose Cousins and Danielle Hunter as two of the stalwarts offensively and defensively. Yeah, Danielle Hunter is the best player of the defensive players that we've lost and gained, but he did not fit Flores' system. He did not fit his scheme. And the guys we have now, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, I know he didn't play yesterday, but Dallas Turner, Blake Cashman, these guys are all better fits. And this is a far superior defensive team. And I cannot wait to go into Lambeau Field and shut down the Packers. If they get a garbage touchdown, okay, fine, whatever. I want to shut out next week. I usually don't get greedy because it's a lot to ask a defense to give up absolutely no points. You can have flukes here and there, or special teams this, or the offense turns the ball over on your side of the field. And it's asking a lot, but I just want to shut out the Packers. But we'll get to that later. Let's get to some comments here. I know we got some people in here that I haven't shouted out here yet, so we'll see what's going on with everybody. Darian, what's going on? I need Jaden Naylor. I'm going to get to him. I am absolutely going to get to him. But shout out, Darren. Good to see you. Thanks so much for showing up. We don't need Diggs. We don't need Diggs. What do we need Diggs for? We got Addison, we got Jefferson, we got Naylor. I mean, good for Diggs, but now we don't need him. Shout out to the Queen. What's going on, Mary? Good to see you. SKOL to you as well. Thank you so kindly for joining. Drop shot, Jake. What is going on? Keeping my emotions in check. Still a long season, absolutely. But I would lie if I'm not enjoying this. You are absolutely correct. I don't want to get we don't want to get our hearts broken as Vikings fans. But at some point, you just have to accept the reality that this is a good team. I figured they'd be somewhere between 7 and 10 wins, 7 and 10. If everything went right, you get to 10 and maybe sneak in as a wild card. Forget that now. We're coming for this division. We are the Kings of the North. We're in first place in this division. Again, it's only 3 weeks, only 3 games, and we're going to have a divisional opponent. The winner of next week's game, barring a tie, of course, will be at the quarter pole, the division leader. But we can not only just win this division, but make some noise in the playoffs. So shout out, Drop Shot. Good to see you. What's going on, Nano? Good to see you. Imagine a Vikings Steelers Super Bowl. Now that, first off, any Super Bowl that has the Vikings in it, I'm down for. Obviously, they haven't gone to one in my lifetime, but holy cow, that would be outstanding. I'll take my chances with Brian Flores' defense against either Justin Fields or Mr. Unlimited Russell Wilson. But shout out to Nano. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you. Yes, I'm relieved he's okay too. Oh boy. And could you have ever imagined this offseason that there would be a point in time where Sam Darnold would go down and everybody in Minnesota and in the stadium would hold their collective breath? And when he came back in, standing ovation for the guy, it's like, okay, this is his team right now. Shout out. Absolutely, Bob. We absolutely dodged a bullet there. Yeah, and you're right. Coaching does matter, Darren. Absolutely. I mean, again, look at what Kirk Cousins was before he got here, what he was in the Zimmer regime with all of his different offensive coordinators, and look what he was with Kevin O'Connell. Look what Sam Darnold was before he got here. Now, again, Sam Darnold didn't have the weapons and all that other good stuff, but coaching absolutely does matter. SKOL for Life says, I was wrong. I had him beating 30-17, Boyd. Well, a lot of people had I had a 31. I heard 31-17, 31-20. I guess we're going to have to realize that our defense just really is that good. It really is that good. Shout out goes to Blood Eagles. Eagle, what's going on? Thanks so much for doing it. Appreciate you. Zim Reaper got schooled by the zone read. Oh, yes. I only brought it up because the comparisons are being made. I don't want to go down that bloody memory lane. But you're right, Eagle. It is Packer week. Let's turn up some more. I totally agree. Totally agree. All right. Offense. 34 points. And they could have had 40. They really could. But Sam Darnold, what else can you say about this guy? He's doing exactly what he needs to do. Not too much, not too little. Still 1 to 2 bonehead plays a week. We've got to cut that out because when we play, teams that can actually take advantage of it a little bit better than Houston could, we got lucky that that first drive of the game that was called an incomplete pass. That could have easily been a fumble. But I will take. Oh, lovely. We got the smoke alarm going off in the house. Daughter must be cooking up something really good. All right, take 2 because I got to cut this up and put it on the podcast feed. Offense, once again, 34 points and could have been more. Sam Darnold, I don't know how long this magic carpet ride is going to last, but for right now, there's nothing to say that it can't. I'm not going to go into, well, what if Sam Darnold does this? Do we re-sign him? What about J.J. McCarthy? Stop. I'm not doing any of that. It's way too early to do that. We'll have plenty of time in the offseason. But for right now, Sam Darnold is in the MVP conversation. Do I think he's the MVP of the league right now? No. Do I think he's absolutely the front runner for comeback player of the year? Yes, I do. We talked all offseason about J.J. McCarthy or any other rookie quarterback coming to the Minnesota Vikings because of the infrastructure of the 2 tackles on the offensive line, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and of course, Justin Jefferson, and now the addition of Aaron Jones as well. And, oh yeah, Speedy Naylor as well. Sam Darnold, why can't we apply that to him? Well, we've applied it to him now. Sam Darnold is doing what he needs to do from the standpoint of he knows on occasion you don't always have to take the safe option. I said it last week, that 97-yard touchdown would have been about a 35-yard game with his predecessor. Sam Darnold does take risks, and Sam Darnold at times does need to cut out some of the bonehead plays that he does. Like I said, about 1 or 2 of them a week. But I will take 1 or 2 bonehead opportunities a week for the upside that you can get chunk plays. Sam Darnold isn't interested in taking checkdowns unless he has to. Sam Darnold's interested in giving his wide receivers every opportunity to get open. That scramble that he had on the touchdown pass to Justin Jefferson, I'm not saying that he's the only quarterback on the planet that can do that and that his predecessor wouldn't have done something similar, because he has, but he wasn't interested in taking a check down because he had a check down opportunity open to him early in that play and he didn't take it. Justin Jefferson, once again, pretty pedestrian numbers for him by his standards. 6 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson hasn't been 125-yard, 2-touchdown Justin Jefferson this season thus far, and we haven't needed him to be. What does that tell you? It tells you, as I said earlier, this offense still has room to grow, as scary as that is. What is this offense going to be like when Jordan Addison is back healthy, when TJ Hawkinson is back? I don't know. Pretty darn good if you ask me. But yesterday, Jalen Naylor, 3 catches, 31 yards, and a touchdown. But they were all impact plays. He reminds me of Jarius Wright back in 2015 to 17, where big third down catches, he would get 3 catches for 42 yards and 2 or 3 first downs. Jalen Naylor, 3 games and 3 touchdowns. He has not only adequately filled in the number 3 wide receiver role, but with Jordan Addison out the last 2 games, he's actually filled in as a pretty decent number 2 wide receiver. Now, I like Jalen Naylor better in the 3rd wide receiver role, playing opposite Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. But for right now, I said it going into the season that our wide receiver depth is going to surprise some people. Everybody said this offseason, well, what do the Vikings have besides Jefferson and Addison? A bunch of unknowns. And yeah, Speedy Jalen Naylor, he's been around for a couple of years and had a lot of injury history. Well, through 3 games, he hasn't had the injury bug. We just need to continue with that, and this offense can still be dynamic. Yesterday, Sam Darnold was sacked 4 times. I don't remember too many of those being on him, waiting too long or running himself into a sack. The interior, they didn't have their best day pass blocking, but the tackles did. Yes, Danielle Hunter, did he get some pressures? Will Anderson, did he get a pressure and a couple sacks? Yeah, okay. That's going to happen when you go up against guys like that. But by and large, Danielle Hunter, I didn't remember hearing his name called at all before that roughing the passer where he hit Sam Darnold. And credit to Christian Darrisaw. I don't remember hearing a lot of Nick Bosa last week. So again, these tackles, I'm not going to say they're as good as Bryant McKinney and Phil Lodeholt, but they're getting there. They're absolutely getting there as a tandem. Just got to figure out this interior. Garrett Bradbury, a couple, the false start there. That wasn't so good. But for right now, this offense is doing everything it needs to do to complement the top 5 defense that they have. There have been other teams that have had great defenses, but eventually would get worn down because their offense was going 3 and out a whole bunch, and eventually they get worn down and those sorts of things. But for right now, this offense is doing exactly what it needs to do. Aaron Jones yesterday, 102 yards, got him over the century mark. Also 5 catches, 46 yards, and that receiving touchdown, which was absolutely beautiful play design. They had Justin Jefferson in the backfield and Aaron Jones lined up at wide receiver, so they completely crisscrossed the Texans defense, and Aaron Jones was wide open on that easy touchdown there with a little flip into the end zone. He did say that he was going to do the vault into the stands, and he didn't do it yesterday, but maybe he was saving something knowing that he's got the Packers next week. I don't know. But having said that, not much from Ty Chandler, but that's going to happen. There's going to be some weeks where it's Aaron Jones' show, and next week's where it's Ty Chandler's show, and some weeks where they're doing a little mixing and matching, and that's fine. The only thing that I am going to say about this Vikings offense that I need to see more of is time of possession. Now, yesterday, by the end of the game, I think it was pretty close. Let me pull that up here real quick. Yeah, yesterday was 31 minutes to 29 minutes, so 50-50. First couple of games, and we didn't care all that much about it in the Giants game, but particularly the San Francisco game, not so much. That is the only thing that I really want to see the Vikings focus on, aside from the obvious, is get that time of possession to where we have the ball for 35 to 40 minutes and the other team's defense is on the field getting worn down. And that's what you're going to need to do next week against the Green Bay Packers. You do not want your defense out there for 35, 40 minutes. They did a good job with it yesterday. Be a little bit better, but a pretty good job yesterday. But time of possession, to me, that is what is going to be the biggest key, aside from the obvious of scoring points and scoring touchdowns and being efficient in the red zone. Time of possession. Let's get that number a little bit higher. And then guess what? This defense is fresh. It's already fresh with how Brian Flores rotates guys in and out. Like I said, they run 18 deep, which is ridiculous to run 18 players in and off the field with how many you missed yesterday. But as far as the offense goes, we haven't unleashed Justin Jefferson yet. Both last week and this week. Got some catches early on. I know Justin Jefferson didn't do much in the second half because he jammed his finger, and so he was used mostly as a decoy, and that's fine. You were in control of the game. You didn't need to force the ball to him. But that's the other thing I like about this offense right now. Kevin O'Connell, as far as I'm concerned, appears to me to be able to call plays a little bit more loosey-goosey than he was his first 2 seasons. Put together any correlations with what's different about now versus his first 2 seasons you want, whether it's Kirk Cousins or Josh Dobb or Nick Mullins and Jaron Hall and the cavalcade of quarterbacks that we used last season. But what I'm saying is this. He appears to me, he's actually running the ball a little bit more, which is good. But more importantly than that, he's taking more chances downfield. I'm not saying he never did, but it seems to me that he's taking more. So again, up the time of possession, fix that interior a little bit more. And again, you're going to have games, but it didn't matter. You still put up 34 points. And I cannot wait for this offense to be at full strength. Get Jordan Addison back, get TJ Hawkinson back in a couple weeks. What is this offense going to be? I don't know, but I can't wait to see what Kevin O'Connell can do when he has all of his toys available. This, to me, is a little bit like last year, what the defense was, where Brian Flores had to make chicken salad out of chicken you-know-what with the players that he had. And eventually it got found out. This year, Brian Flores has the pieces. Right now, other than the Giants game, in fact, not even including the Giants game, we haven't had all of our offensive pieces. Yeah, we had Addison for the first 2.5 quarters. Missed him the last 2 weeks in the last part of the game against the Giants. Haven't had TJ Hawkinson yet. How far can this offense go? Because right now, they're doing pretty good. Still a couple of points in time where, they go too far in between scoring. For example, they scored with a minute left in the first quarter. In the first quarter, and didn't score again until 5 minutes left into the third. So they went an entire quarter without scoring. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves. It's like you can't go that many possessions without scoring. But now we have a defense where that doesn't matter as much. So if you can eliminate the amount of possessions where you're not scoring, up the time of possession, this team can compete for a Super Bowl this year. And I didn't think I'd ever say that. I said this year, okay, transition year, rebuilding year. It's all gravy. If they win 7 games, don't be disappointed. And if they sneak into the playoffs, all right, so much the better. Yeah, I'm raising the bar. In fact, it's not me raising the bar. It's the Vikings that have raised the bar. They have raised the bar with their play through 3 weeks, beating San Francisco and Houston at home. People were just hoping to maybe get a split and hoping not to get blown out, where we blew out the Texans for sure. We blew out the 49ers, but for the scoreboard, shot ourselves in the foot. We got to cut that down. But this team has no limits. Am I ready to say they're the best team in the NFL? No. Right now on a neutral field, if we were playing the Kansas City Chiefs, I would objectively say that Kansas City should be favored. Beyond that, I'll take my chances against Buffalo. I'll take my chances against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll take my chances against pretty near any other team in the AFC. We just beat one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the AFC already. NFC, I said this going into the season that I thought this division, the NFC North, would be the best division in football. We'll talk about the rest of the division here shortly in the NFC roundup, but we may have 3 of the top 8 or 10 teams in the entire NFL in this division, and your Vikings are one of them. I'm not going to say they're the best team in the NFL just yet, though. But in just a few moments, about 10 minutes from now, head on over to Vikings First and SKOL, because I can't wait to hear what Tyler has to say on the Real 4-0 show, because that's what their headline is are they the best team in the NFL right now? Not ready to go there yet, but maybe that's just me holding back a little bit. Don't want to get the heart broken again. But for right now, this offense still has room to improve. We just scored 34 points. And I'm saying that this offense has room to improve, because they do. They can compete with anybody. I will say that. I'm not going to say that, oh, there's no chance we can compete with this team or that team or whatever else. No, they can compete with anybody. I'm not saying they're going to go 17-0. We talked about it earlier at the beginning where we had everybody talking about, hey, 17-0 still alive. Yeah, they're not going to go 17-0, but that's okay. What I really care about is how far this team can go in the playoffs. And they're going to the playoffs, I'll tell you that right now. Barring injury. All right, let's get some shout outs here. Get you guys' comments up here, because I know you guys have been going. Let's see. I agree with you, Mary. One game at a time. Absolutely. Drop shot Jake. Shout out to you. Gilmore is my favorite signing. You want to know what's really cool about Gilmore? We haven't heard his name at all. And that's good when you don't hear, whether it's the offensive line or the cornerbacks. If you don't hear their names, that means they're doing something right. But you're right. He has provided the veteran leadership that was sorely needed after, the tragedy and the unfortunate injury to Mekhi Blackman. Absolutely. He and Jack Griffin are running it back there. Byron Murphy, hang on to the ball. Had a perfect opportunity for an interception, but that's okay. But when Byron Murphy's your third cornerback, you're okay. And you're getting as much pressure as this Vikings defensive line is given right now. Yeah. I don't know if Gilmore has found the fountain of youth, or they're just doing so well because of how much pass rush they've been getting. And that's one thing I forgot to say earlier when I was talking about the defense is they don't have to blitz nearly as much. They're blitzing at about a 25% rate right now. 25%. Last year was close to 50 or 60 because they had to. And now you can just strategically blitz and strategically say, all right, where am I coming from? But all of these exotic looks, what are teams going to do with us? What are they going to do? I was looking up some stats and I can't find them right now, so I'll get back to them later. But shout out Drop Shot. Appreciate you. Shout out Gary. What's going on, Papa Gary? Good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping by. Shout out Cody. What is going on? Do you think B-Flow defense stops Jordan Love? I'll say this. First off, thanks for joining, Cody. Appreciate you as always. I think the Flores defense is designed to stop you from scoring. Now, so is every defense, but what do I mean by that? What I mean by that is they're willing to give up yards, but they make you earn every inch, every millimeter of grass that you gain against them. And they're designed to clamp down in the red zone. First off, I don't know what Jordan Love's going to be like in his first game back from injury. If he's even going to be back there at all, still could be Malik Willis. And frankly, I'd rather see Jordan Love than Malik Willis, and that might be the kiss of death. But Malik Willis is a little bit better scrambler, has a little bit more of the run options than Jordan Love does. Do I think they can stop him enough to win? Yes. Do I think they're going to shut him down? Probably not. I'd love for it. As I said, I don't know if you heard my talk earlier, but one of the Packer radio guys said that the Vikings were overrated and that they were going to run roughshod over us. It's like, okay, you did what you needed to do, but give me a break. I'm going to get back to what Tauscher had to say here in just a second. But thanks for the comment, Cody, and for joining as always. A little hello. Shout out Caesar. What's going on? Insane start. Hope we keep it up against Green Bay. Not sure if Love will play. I don't care which one of them plays. I think we can beat him either way. But I want Jordan Love to play because I don't want to hear the excuses of, well, we played our backup quarterback. But you know what? If they do play Jordan Love and we end up beating them, it's going to be, well, it was his first game back from injury, so blah, blah, blah. Whatever. I want them at full strength, and I want to absolutely mollywop those guys. Absolutely insane start, though. But shout out, Caesar. Thanks for joining. Shout out to Matt as well. B-Flow serving up something special. You are correct. I hope they just walk B-Flow into the office this week and say, all right, what numbers do you want? What do you want? Here it is. Blank check. Blank check. Get him signed and keep him here. Let him be our Dick LeBeau, as I said earlier. The guy who's just a defensive coordinator for a decade and a half. Give him 1 penny less than what you're going to give Kevin O'Connell. Because frankly, like I said, we have 2 head coaches. 1 offense head coach, 1 defense head coach. But thanks, Matt, for joining. Appreciate you as always. Keep the comments coming, you guys. Let's see. Kirk was the rock in my shoe. I can't really argue. And again, I'm not saying that Kirk was terrible. I've never said he was terrible, but you saw it last night. Oh, his arm got hit. Yeah, his arm got hit. That's 1 play, though. What about the rest of the game? What about the last couple plays of the game? As Bob said, but played well, but came up short. That's kind of what he does. Doesn't mean he's bad. It just means that at some point when you've seen the same song and dance with him, you know what you got with him. So, about to be 4-0. Better believe that, Barber. Better believe that. Greatest thing that Darnold offers is mobility. Watching Kirk last night made me gay. The O-line has been so much better. Yes. That's a very good point, Darian. Thank you for bringing that up. I did want to mention that because I was nitpicking the performance, particularly of the interior of the offensive line. But yes, this offensive line is better when you don't have a statue back there. Now, if you have a statue, that statue better be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning or Dan Marino. Other than that, yes, having a guy, even though he does, Darnold, that is, make mistakes from time to time, he gives your offense that extra chance to do something when he's moving around. Now, sometimes he's got to not move around too much. As I said last week in the game against San Francisco, he moved to the right where he had a hole right in front of him. It's like, no, sometimes you just got to run. But having said all that, yes, this offensive line, by and large, has played so much better this year. And again, I'm not going to say that it's entirely the improvement of the offensive line. I'm going to say that some of it is the quarterback who's behind him. Makes him look better. I agree with you, Schmiegel. Sky is the limit. There is no more limits to this. Shout out to Tony. What's going on? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Shout out Dylan. What's going on? Season feels odd. Are we actually really good? Yes, we are. On the defensive side of the ball, they're absolutely top 5. Overall, they're definitely a top 8 team right now, and they might be higher than that. There are some already asking, are we the best team in the NFC? Are we the best team in the NFL? Like I said, check out Dylan and Dave over on Vikings First and SKOL here in about, as soon as I'm done, because their headline is, let's talk about if the Vikings are the best team in the NFL right now. They are good. Absolutely. And I'm so looking forward to Packers week. I am so looking forward to it. There's my guy. Too evil to hope. What is going on? Good to see you. For a minute, I thought we were done with the Tay-Tay bit, but apparently not. All right, let's get a quick roundup around the NFC, and then let's get out of here and get you on over to Vikings First and SKOL. The Chicago Bears are so bad. I think I might just leave it at that. No, I'm not going to just leave it at that, but my goodness. Caleb Williams, congratulations. You finally threw a touchdown pass or 2. Wow. What do you say about it? Their defense is pretty good, but their offense is still a disaster. And anybody thought that Caleb Williams was just going to step in and take the Chicago Bears out of being a bad offense to even just a respectable offense. I'm sorry, but no, absolutely not. The Chicago Bears lost to the Colts, and the Colts almost gave that game away. They almost did. They had the opportunity to make sure that the Bears didn't get the ball back. All they had to do was take the ball out of the end zone, and you would have got the 2-minute warning. So you gave the Bears a free timeout, but they got the first down, and ultimately that was the end of the game. Looked like a bit of a snooze fest for me. The Bears are 1-2, and they only have a victory over the lowly Tennessee Titans. Compliments of Will Levis, who we'll talk about here shortly when we talk about the Packers game. Anybody who thought we should be worried about the Bears right now, maybe in a year or two, not right now. The Bears still suck. I know. It's Packers week, so I had to throw that one in there. The Detroit Lions come away with a victory over the Arizona Cardinals. The Detroit Lions didn't do anything in the second half. They had a great play. They ran the hook and ladder with less than 30 seconds in the second quarter before halftime to go up 20-10. but they didn't do anything the entire second half. Now, neither did the Cardinals, but you look at the Lions' possession in the second half, punt this, interception that. Yes, final drive, they ran out the clock, got some first downs, but Detroit's going to be a formidable opponent. They're still a good team, but they're not as good as they were last year. Maybe they're just not sneaking up on people, or maybe some coaches have figured out Dan Campbell. I don't know. They looked okay in the first half from the highlight packages that I saw, but second half, they didn't do much of anything. So again, going into the season, I thought we'd be lucky to win one. No, we're definitely going to win at least one, if not both, as long as we stay healthy. The Detroit Lions they're still a good team. I still have them as a top 10 team. And as I said, I think the Vikings, Packers, and Lions are 3 of the top 10 teams in the NFL right now. But Detroit they haven't quite recaptured that. Amon St. Brown was great as always yesterday. And, he's a top 5 receiver in my mind. But the Lions are not unbeatable. Finally, our opponent next week, the hated team from the East, the Green Bay Packers, they thoroughly dominated the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are so bad. Will Levis is so bad. I hope Will Levis is still the starting quarterback when we play them later on this season here. I forget which week we have them. It's the middle of November. It's the week before Thanksgiving. Please, Will Levis, start playing a little bit better so that we can play you. They absolutely had an opportunity to beat the Packers, and then Jair Alexander with the pick 6, and from that point on, they were chasing, and they weren't going to come back against that. I'll give some credit to Matt LaFleur. Let's call it what it is. He's done a really good job of getting Malik Willis up to speed, who did absolutely nothing. That's why the Titans decided, we're just going to trade this guy. They traded away the guy that beat him yesterday to hold on to Will Levis. Please, Titans, please keep Will Levis as your starting quarterback till we get then. As far as the Packers go, okay, they did what they're supposed to do. They're a better team than the Titans. We absolutely got to give them that. As much as we hate them and as much as we want to mollywop them next weekend, they're better than the Titans. They did what they're supposed to do with a 16-point victory. But I'm going to circle and wrap up the roundup here. I'm going to circle up to one Mark Tauscher, who does a radio show. He does a post-game show on ESPN Milwaukee. It's ESPN Milwaukee on YouTube, and it's their green and gold post-game show or their Packers post-game show, whatever the heck they call it. And his opening salvo yesterday was, the Vikings are overrated. We're going to stomp them next week. Really? You're going to stomp us? Yeah, you did what you're supposed to do in beating a bad team in the Titans, kind of like what we did with the Giants. But who else have you played? Oh, yeah, the Colts. Whoop-de-ding-dong. They barely beat the Bears. And you lost to a good but not great Philadelphia Eagles team. Yeah, you lost your quarterback on the last drive, but sans a Hail Mary, you weren't going to win that game. And you're going to stomp us because you had a great game against a bad team. Okay, Tausch. We'll see if you do so. I'm guessing you're going to do a little bit of backtracking. To call the Vikings overrated with how well coached this team is on both sides of the ball, but specifically defensively, to think, we went 2-0 with Malik Willis, so we get Jordan Love back. We're going to beat the overrated Vikings. Who have they played? They played the defending NFC champions, and they beat one of the odds-on favorites to win the AFC this year. Both games at home, sure. Would have been more impressive if both of those games were on the road. But really, Tausch? Overrated? Yeah, we got something for you come Sunday at noon. We got a little something for you here. That's your NFC North roundup. If you missed any part of the show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And like I said, please subscribe on your favorite podcast aggregator to Vikings First and SKOL. I'm going to read these last comments. I'm going to put the link over to the Vikings First and SKOL YouTube page because I am really looking forward to seeing Dave and Tyler and what they've got going on after a dominant performance against the Titans here. But real quick let me get this link. So hang tight, everybody. Their show hasn't started yet. I'm trying to time this out to where my show ends and you go right on over there for the doubleheader. But let me get the rest of these shout outs here. We got a lot of hellos to 2Evo. Oh, yes, I forgot. Yeah, Justin Jefferson. Hang on to the ball. Now, again, one of them was he had to stretch out, and one of them was just a bad drop on his part. But I think we're gonna be just fine offensively. And again, I cannot wait until Addison and Hawkinson are back where we've got the full complement. Lions got lucky. They were going up against Kyler Murray. Yeah, if they were going up against a better team, they might have had something. They might have had some problems there. Shout out T-Bass. What's going on? O'Connell seemed to be doing much better play calling. Yeah, I mentioned that earlier, T-Bass. I don't know if you heard it, but he seems to be a little freer with his play calls. He's sticking with a run. It's now that he has an actual running back that He trusts a little bit more than Alexander Madison. And again, I mean no disrespect to Alexander Madison. I said it all last year. Met the guy's family, and we interacted with him a few times last season, but he just wasn't it. So again, Kevin O'Connell sticking to the run a little bit more than he has been both of his years. But I do feel that he's calling plays because he knows he has a quarterback that on occasion will take some risks. But no, I'm totally with you, T-Bass. Totally with you. We are lit. We are lit, Vocal Vike. You are correct. What is going on, Kyle? How are you? 3-0. You are correct. After you guys check out Vikings First and SKOL with Tyler and Dave, go on over to my guy Kyle's YouTube page. Kyle, put the link. If you're still in, Kyle, put the link to your page in here, and we'll see if we can get some people over to watch your show. I will be watching that later. Actually, I'll probably be watching it tomorrow. But having said all that, we are 3-0. We are the Kings of the North. We are one of two teams that are undefeated in the NFC, and we got Packers coming up. Purple People Podcast. I almost said Purple Pocket Podcast because we got Vocal Vike in here. Thank you kindly for reminding us. Again, I didn't want to say it wrong. But so, yeah, head on over to Purple Pocket Podcast after you watch Dave and Tyler here. That's going to do it for now. It's Packer week. So if you got Packer co-workers, give them some ribbon. And the Vikings will most definitely be giving the Packers some ribbon this coming Sunday at high noon. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. Thank you kindly, as always, for joining. SKOL to the next episode. Good night, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.